Welcome back to Living with a Classic. I'm here with the Fern Gray XJC. Lots of work has been done off camera. I'll show you that a little bit later. Like the whole front is done now with the lower grille and the bumper and everything. Whole car's undercoat underneath. Lots done in the engine bay and things. But it's time to step onto the interior. This will be probably 2 or 3 part video. In this part, we're doing the headliner. You guys have asked for a headliner for a long time. Often when I've done headliners, I've just been kind of busy, not wanting to film. But this time, I'm going to film it for you guys. Prepared a couple things. The headliner's out of the car because it's been painted and everything. So I have started to do some things with it just to try some things out. It was covered in not the original style of material, which made it a little bit difficult to remove in certain places. But I've done some of it, and I've also prepared the board. There's one big board in the middle that you cover. Then there are side rails and a front rail and a rear rail that holds it all into place. It's common for these to deteriorate. What happens is it is foam back material. That's why they look so nice. Foam deteriorates, and then there's nothing holding the fabric on. Some of them do, some don't. Some do it early in their life, and some do it later in their life. I have two 70s XJs with both have original headliners, and then I have one that's been replaced. It's just really, really different. But let me go through just some things that I've done right now, and then we have a side rail we're going to start taking apart, and I'll show you all of that. I've already taken apart one side rail, and that one is being glued because it's all old, fragile. It has to be mended as well. Please excuse the slight mess. We're working on other projects as well, and also going through, make sure I have all the parts to finish up the car. Here is a side rail I took apart earlier, and there were a couple small cracks in it, so I've glued those with some quick setting epoxy, and that's going to be fine. Here is the board, and that's where I've spent most of my time so far, getting the old material off, and then there were chunks of the board missing. A lot of the board and the sides get covered by the side molding, but I still want there to be some material. So from the other side, I've used glass fiber and polyester, built it up, then some glass fiber strained filler on here, and then just a little bit of spray filler in certain places just to soften it out. So I'm going to sand this board one more time, but it is a soft, really odd material. But I could not get a board for the coupe. Many other cars you can. Then I recommend just get a new board. It will come covered. This will be a lot easier. But in this case, we can't. So the side rails are a little bit different on the coupes. They have these lights in there. So they are in 3 parts. And they're held in place with clips onto the car. And then you also have a handle here with screws going through. Whoever trimmed this one last in a very interesting shade of blue did not make it fun for me. You just need to glue it back here. Good contact adhesive. I use a 3M product. You guys will see in a little bit. However, they used about 100 staples. They were painting it out. So that's why it will take a little bit of time. Look, like here's a coffee mug of the staples from the other side. If you have a Series 1 or a Series 2 XJ, like a 4-door, this will be very, very similar. How these rails are put together, just that you won't have this little light portion. But otherwise, it is very, very similar. Later cars, such as XJSs and things, are a bit easier to do because the side moldings don't need to be taken apart as much as these do. So it's just a matter of basically ripping the old what do we call it, fabric off. This stuff is not at all like the original style. Like the original style is foam back, and I have some in the beige color. Can't remember exactly what it's called, but there are only 2 colors of headliner. There's a gray one, and then there's a beige one, depending on which interior you have. This car is getting a basically cognac color, I'd call it, interior. You'll see that in the next episode on this car. And that's why I went with a light, nice beige headliner. Cars with black interiors and blue interiors usually got a gray headliner. So that's how you do it. You do not want to remove any of this foam. You want that to stay on there. Later, you can just clean up the area, make sure it is pretty smooth. It doesn't have to be perfectly smooth because the fabric that you're putting on has foam on the back, so it's quite forgiving. There are certain things that you will see, such as on the XJS, these clips for the side panels are a little bit different, and some people really push hard when they retrim around there. And then you'll see all those clips when you're done. I really don't like cars where they've done that. I think it just looks cheap. We have a couple, for a while I had a lot of XJS, customer XJSs that had that. And I think they're all retrimmed at the same place. So this rail part is separate. It needs to be removed. There are just these little clips here. But it is all pretty straightforward things. Like I said, it's just quite time consuming. One of those nice but time consuming jobs. And whatever you do when you're restoring one of these cars, don't throw away these side rails. Just on my first car, I did, because they were really moldy and really gross. And I thought you could buy new ones, and you can't. So I had to make some just from pictures, because I didn't have any cars to compare it to. So even if you do have to make new ones, it is a lot easier if you have them. So here are the two pieces. I'm not the first one to recover it, so this one is definitely damaged here. Not that big of a deal because this rail covers the whole damage. We'll see if we can fix that a little bit better. Once again, just going to rip off the material from this one here. I need to take all of these out. So I'll do that, and then I'll report back to you guys when all of this material is gone. And then we'll be ready to, we'll do the front and rear rails as well. And then we'll be ready to start cutting our material, preparing to glue and all that. It's the next day. I've let the side panels dry overnight, so they're good to go and ready to be recovered. But I thought we'd start with the main board. And we emphasize this: if you can get a new board, that is great, because they come pre covered. But it's really not that bad. I have cut a piece of fabric to the correct size, and I'm prepared here. This is all cleaned off and everything, and I'm ready to glue it down. Make sure that you have clean hands. I actually prefer hands than gloves, because it's easier to see if you have something dirty on your hands than gloves. At least that's my opinion. You can do sort of what you want. I'm going to start by laying out the fabric. And let's see, which way did I cut it? The other way. And if you have some light wrinkles or something in it, this is foam backed, so they're not going to show up. Once it's been in there for a day or so, they will all go away and it will look really, really nice. So just go around it, make sure that it covers everything. You don't want too much overlap because, well, the fabric is a bit expensive, and usually you order just enough to do it. I ordered a little bit extra just because I might need it for something else, and in case you mess up. The way I like to do it now is I like to glue half the area and glue the other half. So we'll fold it over, and the contact adhesive I use, I'll show you that bit. It's a 3M product that needs to go on both sides. So this way we can spray this side with it, and here lay that down, flip the same thing over to the other side, and then this panel is done. Different contact. There's different adhesives. If you use this one, it doesn't need to set for that long. It's about 10 to 30 seconds before you can put it together. On here, there's a spray pattern, low and high. I like the high one. And depending on how many details you have, I'd say something like an XJS or something, you can do it with one because there's not that much detail. But get 2 cans. That should last you enough. Here, I probably will use 2 because of all of the things on the edge. But yeah, just spraying it down. Should also be nice and warm when you do this. I like to overlap it just a little bit to make sure that this will stick well. And now we do the same thing on the fabric. There we go. We'll give that about 30 seconds or so. Just like any aerosol product, turn it upside down, spray it out the nozzle. These will clog up pretty badly. And then you just gotta make sure that your hands are clean. And then we'll just lay it out. You do have a little bit of wiggle room and adjustment with this glue, but after a while it will set really, really hard. So let us see. Kind of like most things, if you're 2 people, it's easier. But just like you guys, I'm just, a guy alone in his workshop. So you gotta do what you gotta do. And it will usually work out just fine.
You don't need to push too hard on it. You will just create marks. This stuff is strong. And it will look a tiny bit uneven. But like I said, when it's hanging down, the foam will change appearance. Or sort of like it won't follow the contours as much. And with that, it's just time to trim the edges a bit. And one top tip is, once you're done with your scissors, you can clean them off with acetone. That will get the glue off. So, yeah. And of course, if you don't spray out to the edges like I did, this won't be your problem, but I'd rather have a little bit of extra than not enough glue, especially in a situation like this. Now we can lay this to the side and we can start doing all the side pieces.
When it comes to all the side panels and everything, it's pretty much the same idea. Lay it out, cut around. Doesn't have to be that neat because it folds over the back. And then we'll just flip it over. Adhesive on both sides, put it together, and we'll do that. And when you're done, you end up with a panel that looks like this with everything. So that's going to be really nice with the light and everything quite fiddly on the coupe. So I'm going to make this one. It's like the exact same idea, and the front and rear panels. And then I think we'll call it a night, and tomorrow we'll install them in the car. Many hours later, and it's in a car. It's one of those things that was tight to film, and also it's really putting the panels back, but it's all the clips and everything, lining those up. The handles here holding in place. There's screws behind here, which I just got in. These little lights. So we'll plug that in. And with that final touch, we have the headliner in place. It's definitely something that you can do as a DIY job. It's just quite time consuming and a bit fiddly. But like I said, definitely you can do it. There we go. You can do it, but it's a bit time consuming. So that is actually it for this episode. I'm going to clean out the inside of the car. And next episode, you'll see the next part interior going in is the carpets. And after that, we're doing door cards and the seats. So it'll be a 3-part series. But join me next time when we get the new carpet kit in. And we're one step closer to this car being finished. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. Until next time, I'm Adam. This is Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.